When you cross into your 60s, something begins to change. Not overnight, not dramatically, but quietly. At first, you brush it off. A missed call here, an awkward lunch there. But over time, you start to notice that some of your oldest friendships don't quite fit anymore. And that realization stings more than you expected. You've known these people for decades. You raised your kids at the same time, survived losses together, maybe even took vacations as a group. You thought these were your people for life. But now, conversations feel strained. You sit across from someone you used to share everything with, and all you can think about is how much they interrupt you, or how little they ask about your life, or how often you leave feeling more tired than when you arrived. It's not about one moment. It's a slow unraveling, like realizing your favorite sweater has started to itch. At first, you try to push through it. You tell yourself maybe it's just a rough patch. Maybe they're going through something. Maybe you are. You offer more patience than you should, hoping things will go back to how they used to be. But they don't. The conversations stay shallow. The energy stays off. And the connection that used to feel effortless now takes work. Too much work. There's a kind of grief in that. No one really talks about it, but it's real. We expect to lose touch with coworkers, neighbors, the guy who used to fix our lawnmower. But lifelong friends? That feels sacred. And when that starts to fade, it cuts deep. What makes it harder is the history. You remember their wedding. They held your first grandchild. You both survived the 80s. So how can you just drift apart now? The truth is, friendship needs more than history. It needs presence. It needs attention. And when people stop showing up in the ways that matter, emotionally, mentally, soulfully, no amount of shared memories can cover that up. And here's another hard truth. Sometimes, people grow in different directions. Not because of a fight. Not because of betrayal. Just because. You've changed. They've changed. And the way you connect no longer lines up. You're trying to slow down, reflect more, protect your peace. They're still chasing drama, complaining often, or holding on to old patterns that no longer match your life. You want conversations that matter, moments that feel genuine. You want to laugh, yes, but not at the expense of depth. You want friends who listen without waiting for their turn to speak. And that's not selfish. That's honest. But honesty isn't always easy. It's hard to admit that someone you once needed doesn't quite fit your world anymore. You sit across from them at dinner, stirring your tea, wondering if they notice the silence too. And if they do, they don't mention it. It's even harder when you still love them. When they're not toxic or cruel, just distant, or disconnected, or stuck in a version of you that no longer exists. You want to reach for them, but you don't know how anymore. And deep down, you suspect they feel the same. Letting go of those friendships can feel disloyal, like you're throwing away years of connection. But you're not. You're simply recognizing that not everything is meant to last forever. Some people walk beside us for a long time, but not always to the end. The real shift that happens after 60 is this. You become more intentional. You start asking yourself, does this person add peace to my life? Or do I leave every interaction feeling a little smaller, a little more tired, a little less seen? And when the answer leans toward the latter, you start to pull away. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. You've earned the right to protect your energy. You've spent your life caring for others, balancing family, work, responsibilities, expectations. Now is the time to be a little more careful with where you invest your heart. And that means being honest about the friendships that no longer serve you. But it doesn't have to be cruel. You don't need a dramatic exit. No need for a long message or a pointed conversation. Sometimes, the kindest way to let go is simply to stop forcing it. Let the distance settle where it wants to, and trust that both of you will find what you need elsewhere. Because here's the beautiful part. Making space by stepping away from the wrong connections creates room for the right ones, for the people who listen, who support, who accept you as you are, without needing you to shrink or perform. It might not be a crowd, but it will be enough. There's no rule that says your best friendships can't begin after 60. Some of the most genuine connections happen later in life, when the masks are off, when the pressure to impress is gone, when all you really want is someone to talk to who understands what it's like to wake up with stiff knees and a strong sense of clarity. And maybe that's what all of this is really about. Clarity and knowing what you want in a friend, and being brave enough to seek it. Even if it means letting go of people you thought you'd never lose. If you've been feeling this shift too, just know you're not alone. This is part of growing older with wisdom, not just age. And if you've made it this far into the video, maybe it's because it's hitting a little close to home. If it is, maybe consider sticking around. Subscribe. Join the kind of space where we talk honestly, without judgment, and without those weird chain emails from 2007. You start noticing it during small moments. A story you used to find hilarious together suddenly feels flat. You bring up a book that moved you, and they scoff, uninterested. You mention how you've been waking up earlier, journaling more, drinking less, and they roll their eyes and say, "You used to be fun." It's subtle, but it's there. The version of you they're attached to isn't the one you are anymore. And maybe you used to laugh at things that no longer sit right with you. Maybe you used to bond over complaints or gossip, or long phone calls filled with repetition. But somewhere along the way, you wanted something different. Peace, purpose, conversations with meaning, and they stayed where they were. Sometimes it's a friend who still treats you like the same 20-year-old they met half a lifetime ago. Like you haven't been through things, grown through things, changed your mind. You try to explain who you are now, but they don't seem to hear it. Or worse, they hear it and dismiss it. As if evolution is an inconvenience. It's painful to be misunderstood, especially by someone who used to know you so well. It's like your roots grew deeper while theirs stayed shallow. And now you're speaking different languages, living in different emotional climates. They want to talk about the past, but you want to talk about what's next. This doesn't mean you're better than them. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means your paths, which once ran side by side, are curving in different directions. And the more you try to drag the friendship along your new path, the heavier it feels. Eventually, you stop. You stop initiating. Stop over-explaining. Stop trying to force laughter where there's only echo. And that's when the distance sets in. Not always dramatic, but undeniable. Messages get shorter. Birthdays become texts instead of calls. Invitations slow to a trickle. And the silence starts to feel more comfortable than the effort it takes to keep something alive that no longer breathes. What's wild is that you can love someone and still know it's time to let go. That love doesn't cancel out exhaustion, or disappointment, or the quiet ache of feeling unseen. In fact, sometimes the love is what makes it harder. You want to hold on to the good. You remember the nights when they showed up for you, the vacations, the shared meals, the private jokes. But even those memories start to feel like postcards from a life you don't live anymore. Letting go doesn't mean erasing those memories. It just means you're finally respecting where you are now. And that deserves some credit. Because not everyone is brave enough to admit when something once beautiful has run its course. So where does that leave you? With space, with quiet, with a calendar that looks a little emptier. And that can feel lonely at first. But it also gives you the chance to build new connections, ones that match who you've become. Friends who talk about ideas, not just people. Friends who see your growth and reflect it back. Friends who don't mind if you've started going to bed at 9:30 or cutting sugar out of your coffee. You might meet them at book clubs or walking groups or community events. You might meet them online. You might meet them when you least expect it. Standing in line at the pharmacy, striking up a conversation with someone who just gets you in 5 minutes more than some people did in 5 decades. And when you find those people, even if there are only one or two of them, something opens up. A lightness, a kind of ease you didn't know you were missing. You realize friendship after 60 doesn't have to be about longevity. It's about alignment. Not how long you've known each other, but how deeply you connect. That's the trade-off. You lose some people, but you gain a clearer sense of who you are and who you want to spend your time with. You start choosing relationships that nourish you, that feel like exhaling, like peace. And you stop feeling guilty for wanting that, for needing that. Because if there's anything life has taught you by now, it's that time is precious, and you deserve to spend it with people who see you, not just remember who you used to be. Some friends were meant for a season, others for a few chapters, and a rare few will stay with you through the whole book. But it's okay to turn the page. It's not betrayal, it's growth. So if you've been quietly grieving a friendship that's faded, or questioning if it's okay to let someone go, I hope this gives you permission. You're not the only one, and you're not heartless. You're just finally choosing peace over obligation, presence over pressure, joy over history. And hey, if you're looking for a new voice to keep you company on this next stretch of the journey, I'm right here. No pressure, but if this resonated with you, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be here with more real talk, more quiet truths, and never any spammy nonsense. Now go call the friend who does make you feel good, the one who asks how you are and waits for the answer. You know the one, because those are the friendships worth growing older with.